Remedy Entertainment is back with a brand new game called Quantum Break. It's an Xbox One exclusive. Actually, it's not. It's also available for the PC. Microsoft did that old switcheroo on us, which is fine in my opinion. I think it's cool that PC players and Xbox One players can jump into this game. It's a pretty cool concept, and it's a very, very ambitious one. Remedy wanted to kind of blur the lines and blend two completely different disciplines. Lots of, third-person action-adventure, mysterious type gameplay with a very mysterious sci-fi kind of television show property. Put them together so that the cutscenes are actually very heavily produced and kind of this kind of grand narrative scope. This is a company, Remedy Entertainment, that has always kind of endeavored to build this big, elaborate stories and ambitious narrative with their games. Alan Wake, of course, and Max Payne, of course. And I think this may be the most ambitious title that they've ever done, but it does feel to me that over the course of its initial scope, some of the features and some of the details were kind of scaled back. And I gotta tell you, my end impression with this game is feeling a little bit disappointed. It's cool. I like the sci-fi story. I definitely love the time-bending mechanics. And this is kind of an important distinction. You play as Shawn Ashmore playing Jack Joyce, one of two brothers who is innocently sucked into the time mechanics and imbued with all of these time powers. His brother, William Joyce, is the scientist who has actually invented a working time machine. He's played by Dominic Monaghan, and it's impressive. The visuals are incredible, like the facial details. Even when they're not on the cutscenes with the 3D models, you can actually see facial reactions to things going on all around them. It's really, really great work. And the other thing that's very impressive here overall is this idea of the story and the narrative. I think it's kind of cool that we have this huge evil empire, this corporation called Monarch that is run by Paul Serene, who is played by Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones, and he's terrific as a bad guy. He's not quite the Machiavellian character that we see in Game of Thrones. He's much more powerful, much more aggressive. Lance Riddick is also caught up in this conspiracy as well as one of the higher-ups at Monarch. So famous faces, familiar faces, fantastic performances that you're kind of used to, and it's awesome to see them sort of interwoven through the experience in full video sequences and sort of almost TV quality but not quite kind of video sequences, as well as beautifully rendered CG creations in this thing. Really nice work there. And it is impressive to kind of, go through the story and realize that as you work your way through the game, which is all about jumping forwards and backwards in time, you can actually alter some of the events in the video sequences and watch these video pieces unfold in different ways. You have choices at these junction points where you get to choose which way you want to go with a particular character, and that alters some of the upcoming scenarios. So you can go back after you beat the game and kind of fiddle with all of that stuff. You can also find these little things called quantum ripples, which will change some of the details that are scattered inside of the video sequences. So you can tell there was a tremendous amount of effort, a tremendous amount of money, and a tremendous amount of ambition with trying to, design all of these things. It's just that the video piece is not as good as Fringe. It's not as good as the best sci-fi that you might see out there. And the game actually takes a bit of a hit as well because it feels like developers were focused on too many, not that important to the experience type of things. It's nice to be able to sit back and watch a cutscene that people have labored over, but unless it's so riveting that you don't want to skip forward, or it's so well produced that you can't think about anything else except getting sucked into this world, it ends up being a little bit superfluous. And I gotta tell you, the video sequences also focus a lot of time on supporting characters and characters that aren't actually interwoven into the key mechanics of the game, which is nice because they're embellishing this whole sort of fictional world, and the performances are good there, but it's another layer of disconnect. We're, as a collective, as we're getting sucked into the value proposition of Quantum Break, we see Shawn Ashmore on the cover, we see Aidan Gillen on the cover. Those are the characters that we want to see more of on screen, and they're in there for sure. I find that there's a lot of these sort of alternate threads and other characters that we spend just a tremendous amount of time on. But here is my biggest problem with this game. I applaud Microsoft for spending so much to get this thing out here. I applaud Remedy for having such an ambitious kind of concept. I think that as we move closer and closer to VR entertainment, we're going to see a lot more of these video game TV or movie type hybrid entertainments out there, and this is a good step in that direction. But the game takes a big hit. We don't really get a sense of letting the reins off of the characters. I feel like we just go from one arena battle to another arena battle. There's lots of exposition, lots of narrative that sort of gets us into these things. We get these cool powers, but I feel like I'm kind of constrained, like I've got a dog collar on me the whole time. I'm not really able to be let loose, and it almost feels like skating when you're zipping around with these time powers and you're able to zip super fast and everybody's lit up and you can shoot them in different things. It's a nice combination of gun mechanics and time powers, but I wanted those gunfights and those battles with the enemies to kind of escalate and really feel like I'm getting tremendous value out of all of these powers that I'm accumulating. And it doesn't really change from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, other than some augmentations and some upgrades. The battles kind of all play out very similarly all the way through the experience, including an anticlimactic sort of boss battle at the end. And I couldn't help but think of games like the Infamous series and Second Son. Maybe not the best narrative out there, but they certainly gave us a huge, robust world to explore and lots of different abilities and powers to use. And I kind of wanted a little more in that direction. I wish that the actual action game world was beefier and meatier with more choice and more fun for me to get into. I just felt like some of the big design decisions were kind of cut off at the knees, and we were left with kind of a mediocre experience overall because people were going in all of these different directions. Again, I applaud that they did. I just wanted to feel as excited as I would feel playing something like Uncharted or Infamous 2 for the very first time. Good stuff from Remedy. It'll be interesting to see how this one does at retail, but I didn't love it. I'm going to give Quantum Break a 6 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.